Man, what's going on YouTube, man? It's your boy Game Like Will, back with a very important video. Oh, laptop about to fall. Alright, so look, this video gonna be about mouthpiece. It's gonna be about speaking. It's gonna be about speaking. And even saying that word is really funny because when you say the word speaking, it just feels like elusive, or like it feels like a not solid. It sounds eerie. It sounds abstract. Speaking. Words. I'm under the impression there's some things that are eerie or abstract that are way more important than the physical body. We've been misinformed. We've been misguided, but we've also been given a lot of good information. Look at the Bible. I'm gonna start it off with this. God said life and death is in the power of the tongue. That shit went over our head. It's only for the intellectual thinkers and the brave-minded people to dig into those contexts to see that not only affirmations work and change the molecule structure of the body when you speak positively to yourself, but I'm watching an interview right now with DJ Academics and Sauce Walker. And Sauce Walker is known for being like somewhat of a pimp, rapper type guy. And even when I was younger, some of the people I looked up to in school that were like I consider big bro or whatever, it was their ability to articulate themselves, man. Their ability to have grit and backbone in conversation and not let people bully them around, or just their willingness to communicate. And I always talk about how obviously we have something called like a throat chakra too, which I'll probably do more videos on that later on. But I noticed you could be closed off socially, or you could be very, very willing to speak your mind. And I think I've wavered in my lifetime. I know within the last couple of years, just being around certain people, it inspired me to be more quiet, because every time I talk, it's like they got some, negative or fucking just being around people that disagree with everything. But in this video, Sauce Walker is actually um being a great speaker, in my opinion. And I study great speakers, bro. I study who I believe to be great speakers, and it's certain patterns that all great speakers have. If you look at, I don't mean to bring up Hitler, but if you look at him, man, what the fuck did he do? You know what I'm saying? He controlled fucking society, race, and damn near the world with his tenacity and his integrity, basically. And he literally believed in what the fuck he was saying so much that it turned things a certain type of way. And that's why I say the God saying life and death are in the power of the tongue is that. If you compare that with that, you're like, wow, you can clearly see it. But if you just read it out of a book, you're like, oh, well, maybe I shouldn't say I want to die or some shit. It's like, the mind doesn't go to real life situations. But even if you look at your parents and stuff, the way they control you is by saying your name, their voice, the voice tone. As soon as they say Will or Sarah or Jamie, your mind says do 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 do. It computes and it says, let me straighten up. Mind manipulation, mind control. I talk a little bit about hypnosis and NLP, but this video is kind of along those lines, but not completely. The name of this video was Rules to Become a Better Speaker. I've came to the conclusion becoming a YouTuber allows me to become a better speaker if I really take the time to really give a fuck about becoming a better speaker. Most people got a camera, they have a internet, and they just don't have the integrity to do what they really want to do in life. If you look at some of Hitler's old clips, you will see him doing a lot of gestures. We call that subcommunication. Um, a lot of the great people I think speak greatly today. Even like I said, my big bro in high school, he had that ability, that charm, that charisma. Not only was his voice penetrative, but he was a hand talker. He was a hand talker. Um, so like I said, there's rules to become a better speaker. And I'm very, really looking at this. I'm like, no one really makes DJ academics just shut up in conversation and agree. But Sauce Walker has DJ academics kind of bending to his perspectives. Why?
Dollars to go around the corner in DJ Hood, and they still struggling. Yeah, DJ Hood can't get $5,000 to go around the corner in New Jersey, but this person right here is getting all this, and all this needed to be done to change that demographic. Promise. Everybody in the club get tipsy. The rock.
And as I'm watching right now, he's making this gesture. And it's like, in society, we're taught, oh, you're dick riding, oh, you're glazing because, anytime, and especially being raised by women, anytime I big up another guy to a woman, it just feels like you glazing. It just feels like, it just feels forbidden. Like you should be believing in yourself. You shouldn't be having anyone you looking up to type shit. It just feels that way. But, honorable men respect honorable men. They see some shit. They see some shit and they don't let their pride or ego say, nah, that ain't what it is. So I had to really humble myself. And I understand who are great speakers. Like I just gave y'all a list of people. Sauce Walker, one of my big bros, I'm not gonna say his name. Um, and other people too that I'm not even naming. You got people in politics. You got debate people who do debate classes. You got just regular people who rap or who may come onto a podcast or just I know people in the NLP scene, like a great speaker, Richard Bandler, a great speaker, and he understands that the mind doesn't work the way people think it works. It works in patterns. Our minds have an algorithm, so you can speak a certain way to make a person agree with the fuck you talking about. And that's I don't know why. I mean, I guess it's hard to understand when you always been a controlled. You always been on the opposite side of your parents, society, the teachers, your friends, your girlfriends. But when you become a better speaker, that shit sincerely changes on that day that you become a little bit better. Because most people, they talk and they listen, but they don't actually make it their due diligence to become a verbal warrior. They don't learn verbal judo. They don't learn even hand gestures I'm using right now because I've been practicing lately, but I'm also just aware that that shit is working. You have to ingrain these things into your subconscious for you to start doing it. When a person sees you make a move with the words, it communicates to their subconscious. This person might knock me out. This person seems like a man. He's talking with his hands. And so I'm gonna just read some of the stuff I wrote down as I watched this interview. I said the willingness to speak elongated or crabwise versus flat and forward. So I noticed at the beginning of this interview, he came in and he wasn't speaking forward, like yes, no, this, that. It wasn't like one word answers, and it wasn't like forward. And just my own perspective of a great speaker, they don't show you. They have I said because people who speak honestly and forward, they reveal too much unnecessary info. And in my opinion, a great speaker doesn't do that. He elicits things within the confines of the framework. So it's more iconic verbally to focus on the mechanics, like I said, hand gestures or what to do. Um, wait. I said the mechanics and the direction. So when I say the direction, what do I mean by the mechanics and the direction? So a person who comes into an interaction with a person and they're saying to themselves, I want to smash this girl, or I want to, somebody with an end goal in their mind is way more likely to get to that end goal than somebody who's just fucking talking. Do you get what I'm saying? If I'm like, hey, I really want to touch millions of people in this one video, that might happen. But if I just go into the video aimlessly, yeah, it might work. But it's more so throwing a dart and in a dark hallway. So I think that dictators have direction, or father figures or uncles or anybody who's mature has direction, and immaturity tends to be chaos and feminine, and just all over the place. So having so I said, so it's more iconic verbally to focus on mechanics and direction. So you go into an interaction with a person, whether it be your grandfather or anybody that you looked up to in your life, you still want to go in with like direction, because this is why I say it's so important for people to have a purpose in life. Because if you have no purpose, it's hard to have a direction. And then people just tend to just end up ruling the conversation. They end up ruling it so well that they tell you you don't even feel comfortable walking away from certain conversations because where you going? You have no life. You have no purpose. You have nothing to walk away for. Everything becomes personal and gawky, and versus it being business like and um respected. So I said they focus on mechanics and direction versus information versus the information. Because the info in the right frame will, what did I say? The information in the right frame um, will work, I guess. I said great speakers don't put that much importance on what, they put their attention on how. This video is not about what Will is saying. Who gives a fuck what I'm saying? Besides my lovely 300, on the road to 300 subscribers, maybe the people behind the YouTube or whatever, maybe they care a little bit. But besides that, no one on the earth really knows I'm even making a video, nor do they care. But the best way for me to really touch more people, like I said, great speakers don't put that much importance on the what. They put their attention on the how. So that's why I say talking with your hands is putting my attention on the how. And the more I speak with my hands, say I go from a 20% user to an 80% user, speaking more actionably with my hands is more likely to catch somebody than if I just talk like this the whole time. It works. People have famous YouTube channels talking like this, but I think that a more great speaker would speak, a more powerful speaker, a more effective speaker, influential speaker, which I'd be lying if I said I didn't want to be. So I said, when you look at how you can defeat whoever's across from you effortlessly, verbal judo. I said, people's minds are pattern adjacent versus freely present. See, the average civilian thinks their mind is just a fucking container or some shit that just holds information. But the mind is more pattern adjacent, meaning if I focus on the how and the what, or the how maybe example of me speaking like this to somebody, I'm influencing their mind because this pattern of speaking with my hands means more to their subconscious. It tells them I'm somebody and I'm important. I can't just walk away from this guy. If you just walk up to somebody, hi, how you doing? they can still walk away somewhat. But if I'm using my hands as I talk to you and my voice is more penetrable and I'm looking in your eyes, then it's communicating power, and you're gonna feel more frozen in that situation and be like, oh well, maybe I should respond back to him. I don't want to let him down. He don't seems like that. He's not conveying somebody that should be let down. So the mind is more a pattern adjacent versus freely present. So if you're unaware of that, then you won't speak with the grain. You know, my father used to cut here, he used to say, you go never go against the grain. You go with the grain. You go with the grain, never against it. So if you're not aware of the way the mind of people works, which is more pattern adjacent, you will speak. You won't speak with the grain because you won't really have a mental idea of what is the grain of the brain. Well, the grain of the brain is when you speak with your hands and you look at people in their eyes, and you people respect dictators. This culture respects dictatorship. The big bro I